In a small town, there was a little boy named Ethan who was just 8 years old. He had bright blue eyes that sparkled with curiosity and a smile that could light up any room. However, his laughter had been silenced by an illness that had taken hold of him. Ethan was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of leukemia. His parents, Sarah and Mark, had spent countless days and nights in the hospital, hoping for good news. They filled his room with toys and books, trying to make it feel like home. Even amid beeping monitors and sterile smells, despite their efforts, the doctors delivered devastating news one afternoon. The lead doctor, Dr. Thompson, spoke gently but firmly. He explained that after exhausting all treatment options, Ethan had only a few days left to live. The words hung in the air like a heavy fog. Sarah's heart sank as she grasped her husband's hand tightly, and tears began to stream down her cheeks. The family had fought so hard together, always clinging to hope, but now that hope felt like it was slipping away. Ethan sat quietly on his hospital bed, looking up at the doctors with a mixture of confusion and bravery. He didn't fully understand what it meant to be told he wouldn't go home again. All he knew was that he wanted to enjoy every moment possible without burdening his parents with his fears. He had seen other children around him being joyful despite their own battles, and he admired their strength. As they left the doctor's office, Sarah and Mark struggled to share the news with Ethan. They didn't want to shatter his spirit but couldn't deny the truth of their situation. When they finally did tell him, Ethan took a deep breath and said something unexpected. "It's okay, Mom, that I'm not scared." His brave words broke their hearts even more in this moment of overwhelming sadness. A nurse named Clara entered Ethan's room. She was new to the hospital but had already made an impact with her kind demeanor and warm smile. Clara had heard about Ethan and wanted to make a difference in whatever way she could during his remaining days. She greeted Ethan with a cheerful hello, noticing the sadness in the room but also sensing the bravery radiating from the little boy. Clara knelt beside Ethan's bed and took his small hand in hers. "You are such a brave boy," she said softly. "I know things may seem tough right now, but I'm here for you." She shared stories of her own life, talking about her childhood dreams and how she always wanted to help children like him. As she spoke, Ethan listened intently, captivated by her words. The warmth in her voice made him forget about the heavy reality for just a moment. Clara asked Ethan what he loved most in the world. He thought for a second before saying, "I really love superheroes. They always save the day." A little spark ignited in his eyes as he talked about his favorite comic book heroes, Batman and Spider-Man, and how they inspired him to be strong. Clara smiled at his enthusiasm and promised she would find a way to bring some superhero magic into his life during these last days. As she left the room that evening, she felt determined to give Ethan something special, something that would bring joy into his heart when everything else felt so dark. Back at home that night, Sarah and Mark struggled with their emotions. They knew the next days would be precious yet heartbreaking as they tried to make every moment count for their little boy. They reflected on all the smiles and laughter they shared with Ethan through the years and felt deep sorrow knowing time was slipping away. As news of Ethan spread among the hospital staff, Clara started gathering ideas from her colleagues on how to make this little boy's final days meaningful. The doctors who treated him were also moved by Clara's dedication. They understood how important it was to bring moments of joy to someone facing such incredible pain. Ethan's story touched many hearts in the hospital, including those who thought they had seen it all before. This was not just another case. This was a little boy who deserved love and happiness until the very end. As everyone prepared for what lay ahead, one thing became clear. Ethan's journey had only just begun, and perhaps it held surprises that no one could ever have anticipated. Clara stepped into the pediatric ward, her heart heavy with the burdens that came with the job as a new nurse at the hospital. She had witnessed both the triumphs and trials of young patients. The clinical smell of antiseptic was familiar, yet it took on a weighty significance each time she walked through those doors. Today, she was assigned to look after Ethan, a boy whose story had already touched many hearts among the staff. When Clara entered Ethan's room for the first time, she immediately sensed the mix of emotions in the air. The sight of Ethan lying on his hospital bed sent pangs of sadness through her heart. He looked small and fragile, surrounded by bright stuffed animals that contrasted sharply with the sterile environment of 4 tubes and monitors. Yet, there was something about his blue eyes that sparkled with a flicker of strength and curiosity. Ethan shifted as Clara approached, his gaze locking onto hers. She noticed how he studied her intently, perhaps trying to gauge whether she would bring more bad news or, perhaps something different. A little glimmer of hope, Clara knelt down beside his bed, making herself as small as possible to meet him at eye level. This was not merely a duty to her. It felt very personal. "Hi there. I'm Clara. I'll be your nurse today," she said, smiling warmly to ease his apprehension. In those first moments, Clara felt an instant connection with the boy. His brave demeanor stood out starkly against the backdrop of despair surrounding them. While he was confined to this hospital room, she could see in his eyes that he still craved adventure and laughter. Ethan gave a tentative smile back, one that struggled to shine through the heaviness felt in his heart. Clara noticed how he clutched a toy superhero tightly in one hand. Its colors faded from too much love, but still vibrant enough to tell a tale of strong imagination and dreams unfulfilled. "I like your superhero," she commented gently, hoping to find common ground. "His name is Captain Courageous?" Ethan replied softly, brightening slightly at the mention of his favorite toy. "He always saves people." His voice wavered but held an undeniable trace of pride. Clara's heart melted at his words. She understood that for Ethan, Captain Courageous represented strength and hope, qualities that every child should embrace, especially in tough times like these. "Captain Courageous sounds like a hero worth having around," she said encouragingly. "What are some of the adventures you've gone on with him?" The question opened the door for Ethan to share stories of imaginary battles and fantastical worlds where good triumphed over evil. Clara listened intently, captivated by his vivid imagination as he animatedly described saving cities from fearsome villains and flying through wild skies. In those moments, it seemed as though Ethan wasn't just a sick boy in a hospital. He was a brave warrior navigating an epic quest. As their conversation flowed, Clara noted an important realization. Here was a child who might have only days left but still possessed a spirit filled with creativity and courage. She found herself smiling genuinely for the first time since arriving at work, feeling that perhaps this boy could teach her just as much as she could teach him about life. Still, Clara recognized the gravity of Ethan's situation looming in the background. Deep down, she knew that this encounter would challenge her professionally and emotionally in unexpected ways. This little boy needed more than just medical care. He needed someone who believed in him and could help him experience joy even in his darkest days. "Ethan," she began tentatively, "I want to do my best to make your time here special." The sincerity behind her words encouraged Ethan to meet her gaze bravely. "How about we come up with some fun things to do together while you're here?" His eyes widened as he contemplated what that could mean. For Clara, it sparked a sense of mission. Not just as a caregiver, but as someone who was determined to bring light into an otherwise shadowy existence. From that moment forward, Clara resolved to become an ally in Ethan's journey, an advocate for joy amid pain, and nothing would stop her from ensuring his final days were filled with happiness and meaningful memories, even if only for a little while longer. As the days passed in the hospital, Clara found herself eagerly looking forward to her shifts, knowing that she would spend time with Ethan. Each day, she entered his room with a sense of purpose and creativity, determined to bring a little joy into his world. It was clear that the bond between them was growing stronger. Clara began by asking Ethan about his favorite games. To her delight, he loved puzzles and board games. She brought in a colorful jigsaw puzzle one day, featuring a vibrant scene of superheroes flying over a city. "Let's work together on this," Clara suggested, her enthusiasm infectious. Ethan's face lit up as he nodded, ready to dive into the challenge. As they pieced the puzzle together, Clara made silly jokes about each superhero's powers. "I bet Captain Courageous can lift that giant puzzle piece without breaking a sweat," she teased, winking at Ethan. His laughter rang through the room like music, and for those moments, the heaviness of their reality faded away. They shared stories, both real and imagined, intertwining their lives in a way that felt magical despite the sterile walls surrounding them. Ethan explained how he dreamed of being a hero one day. "I want to save people just like Captain Courageous," he said earnestly. Clara responded with her own childhood dreams of becoming an astronaut and exploring the stars. Their conversations became a delightful exchange of wishes and aspirations, allowing Ethan to envision a future beyond his current. Circumstances. One afternoon, Clara surprised Ethan with a craft project. A superhero mask. She had brought supplies like colorful paper, markers, and glitter. "Let's create our own heroes today," she exclaimed as she laid out the materials on his bedside table. Ethan's eyes sparkled with excitement at the idea. As they got started, Clara encouraged him to think of what kind of powers his superhero would have. "Would your hero be able to fly? Or maybe turn invisible?" she asked playfully. Ethan thought for a moment before grinning wide. "My hero would have the power to make everyone happy," he declared. With that inspiration, they got to work, cutting and gluing pieces together while giggling at their silly designs. Clara created an outlandish mask covered in sparkles and feathers while Ethan carefully crafted his own colorful creation adorned with drawings of smiles and hearts. Each mask represented their unique personalities, a reflection of hope and joy amidst the sadness surrounding them. Laughter continued to flow as they donned their masks and pretended to be superheroes saving the world from boredom. Clara made exaggerated poses, pretending to swoop in for a dramatic rescue while Ethan giggled uncontrollably. In those moments, it felt like they were two friends embarking on an adventure rather than patient and caregiver on another day. Clara arranged a mini talent show in Ethan's room. She invited other nurses and even some pediatric patients from nearby rooms to join in the fun. "Let's show off our super skills," she announced with a smile, bringing an air of excitement into the ward. Ethan performed a brave song about superheroes coming together to save the day, singing at the top of his lungs while Clara joined in clapping along. The laughter and applause from everyone filled the room with warmth, an electric atmosphere that lifted spirits high above the confines of illness. As they shared these moments of joy and laughter, Ethan's energy seemed to brighten with each interaction. Clara could see how much these little things mattered to him. They temporarily transported him away from the harsh realities he faced daily. Clara also encouraged Ethan to express his feelings through art by providing him with drawing materials. One day, as he sketched away, he created a picture of himself flying through the sky alongside Captain Courageous. When he showed it to Clara, his pride radiated brightly. "This is me. I'm saving everyone," he exclaimed. "Absolutely. You are a true hero," Clara praised enthusiastically. In her heart, she knew that even if time was limited for Ethan, these connections, filled with creativity and laughter, were what made life precious. Through their shared stories and imaginative play, Clara was not just nursing Ethan's physical health. She was nurturing his spirit and allowing him to experience joy despite the heavy burden he carried. Each moment spent together strengthened their bond and reminded them both that hope can thrive even in challenging times. An invaluable lesson that resonated far beyond hospital walls. One sunny afternoon, as Clara sat beside Ethan's bed to enjoy some more creative time together, she noticed that his mood seemed a little different. There was a distant look in his eyes, as if he was lost in thoughts far beyond the confines of his hospital room. Clara gently set down her markers and turned her attention fully to him, sensing that he had something on his mind. "Hey, Ethan," she said softly. "What are you thinking about?" He hesitated for a moment before taking a deep breath. "I was just thinking about all the things I wish I could do," he replied quietly, glancing out the window at the bright blue sky. Clara could see his imagination swirling, and she felt her heart swell with curiosity. "What kind of things?" Clara encouraged him. Ethan leaned forward, his initial shyness giving way to excitement as he began to share his wishes. "I wish I could go on real adventures, like exploring forests full of magical creatures or finding hidden treasure on a deserted island." His eyes sparkled with enthusiasm, painting pictures of far-off places filled with excitement and wonder. Clara smiled at his vivid imagination but also recognized the bittersweet nature of his dreams. "Those sound like amazing adventures. If you could be anywhere right now, where would you want to go first?" He thought for a moment before answering earnestly. "I'd want to fly up high in the sky with Captain Courageous and rescue people who need help." His voice was filled with conviction, showcasing the brave spirit that lay beneath even the toughest circumstances. Encouraged by this hopeful vision, Clara asked, "And what would your superhero powers be if you could choose any? What would make your adventures even better?" Ethan's face lit up again as he pondered this question. "I would have the power to make everyone smile," he declared boldly. And I'd be able to heal people with a hug. The sincerity and hopefulness in his words struck Clara deeply. Here was this boy facing unimaginable challenges yet still dreaming of spreading joy and healing. That's such a special power, Clara said gently. You know, people have their own unique gifts, things they can give to others to inspire happiness. She paused for a moment before adding softly, just like you're doing for me right now. Ethan grinned widely at her words, as if he had just received the greatest compliment. He continued sharing his whimsical dreams. I wish I could meet real superheroes, like flying around with them and saving people from evil villains. Clara joined in on the fun, asking him who his favorite superhero was besides Captain Courageous. Without missing a beat, Ethan exclaimed excitedly, Batman! He's so cool because he fights bad guys. Very true. And did you know that Batman also helps people find hope, just like you're doing right now? Clara responded playfully. She wanted him to feel empowered by his thoughts rather than weighed down by reality. A quiet moment settled between them as Ethan gazed thoughtfully at his art supplies sprawled across the bed. He picked up a blank sheet of paper and started drawing again, this time creating an expansive scene of heroes working together under a shining sun. What are they doing? Clara asked as she watched him closely. They're teaming up to help everyone in need. See how they're flying around and helping kids find their way home? He pointed at various figures he'd drawn with great detail and affection. That's beautiful, Clara praised genuinely. You're really showing what it means to be heroic. Ethan's face glowed with pride as he added finishing touches to his masterpiece. Then he looked solemnly at her and continued sharing more wishes. I wish I could travel anywhere I want, like going to outer space or exploring underwater cities full of fish. Wow! Those sound like incredible adventures too, Clara said enthusiastically. She realized how important it was for Ethan to express these dreams despite the limited time he had left as their conversation flowed effortlessly from one dream to another. Clara felt grateful for these moments. The way Ethan was able to share pieces of himself through creativity and imagination reminded her of life's beauty amid adversity. In that little room filled with art supplies and laughter, Ethan revealed his deepest hopes, dreams that were powerful reminders that even in challenging times, bravery and hope can shine brightly through imagination's lens. And in those moments together, it became clear that they were not just fighting illness. They were celebrating life itself in all its wondrous possibilities. Clara left Ethan's room that day with a heart full of inspiration and determination. She couldn't shake the image of his bright blue eyes lighting up as he shared his dreams of adventure and heroism. It was clear to her that even in the face of such sad news, he possessed a spirit that craved happiness, exploration, and fun. Clara knew she had to do something special to honor those dreams. As she walked down the bustling hospital corridors, she started brainstorming ways to create an unforgettable experience for Ethan. Her mind buzzed with ideas about making his remaining days magical, filling them with joy and laughter. She envisioned a special superhero day that would celebrate his brave spirit, allowing him to feel like the hero he admired so much. When Clara reached the nurse's station, she found her colleagues gathered for their routine check-in. With excitement bubbling inside her, she shared her plan with them. I want to organize a superhero day for Ethan, Clara said enthusiastically. We can transform his room into a superhero paradise. We can dress as superheroes, bring decorations, and set up fun activities for him. The other nurses listened intently, their expressions reflecting both concern for Ethan's condition and admiration for Clara's dedication. One nurse named Jessica smiled brightly and chimed in. That sounds incredible. I can help you come up with decorations and activities. Another nurse, Michael, nodded in agreement. Count me in. I'll bring some capes and masks for my kids. They'll love helping out. With their support rallying behind her, Clara felt emboldened about executing her vision. They all became part of the mission to uplift Ethan's spirits during this challenging time. The nurses quickly organized a series of tasks, each taking on specific roles to ensure everything would run smoothly on Superhero Day. Over the next few days, Clara worked tirelessly alongside her fellow nurses to prepare for the big day. They turned Ethan's hospital room into a vibrant celebration of heroes. Balloons, adorned with superhero logos, floated above his bed, colorful streamers hung from the walls, and drawings from Ethan's previous art sessions were displayed prominently to remind him of his creativity. Clara also reached out to some of the doctors who had cared for Ethan during his treatment. To her delight, Dr. Thompson agreed to join in on the fun. "It's important for patients like Ethan to feel joy amid their struggles," he said warmly when Clara explained how they could lift his spirits. Together, as Superhero Day approached, word spread within the hospital community about what Clara and her team were planning. Other staff members expressed interest and enthusiasm as well, eager to be part of something meaningful. Some brought in extra decorations while others contributed snacks or organized games suited for kids. Finally, the day arrived when everything was set up perfectly in Ethan's room. At first glance upon entering, it looked like a scene straight out of a comic book. Clara stood beside his bed wearing a colorful superhero cape and mask tailored just for her, and when she saw Ethan's face light up with surprise and excitement, all her hard work felt worth it. "Surprise!" she exclaimed cheerfully as Ethan's eyes widened in amazement at all the superhero-themed decorations around him. His grin stretched ear to ear as he took in everything. A whirlwind of colors and joy engulfed him. "Wow! This is amazing!" he shouted joyfully, clapping his hands together gleefully. Ethan couldn't contain his excitement as more nurses came in dressed as various superheroes. Some donned capes made from sheets while others wore funny hats shaped like superhero helmets. Each member contributed unique touches that made it all feel so vibrant and alive. Clara led Ethan through a lineup of planned activities, from trivia games about famous superheroes to crafting new stories where they could invent heroes together. They constructed cardboard cities where Ethan could pretend to save imaginary citizens from equally fictitious villains. The laughter bubbled through the air like sparkling champagne as they took turns sharing tales of bravery while playing cooperative games by moving around obstacles they had set up throughout his room. An adventure right there within those four walls, in celebrating Superhero Day together. This joyous gathering filled with laughter. The sense of camaraderie among staff members shone brightly through this shared mission to make someone else joyful. Amid sorrow, amidst all this camaraderie between them in those moments was always an underlying theme. Hope blossoming even during hard times can create spaces where love reigns supreme. That perhaps amidst shadows there are chances to brighten each other's days just by reaching out and those precious hours filled with smiles exchanged between friends, both new ones and old. Clara realized how impactful compassion could be during moments that mattered most, creating a legacy through actions, demonstrating how truly powerful connection can be, lifting spirits higher than any clinical diagnosis ever could. As the preparations for Superhero Day continued, Clara and her team focused on making the day as magical and fulfilling as possible for Ethan. They brainstormed activities that would not only entertain him but also allow him to experience his dreams in a tangible way. Clara wanted to ensure that Ethan felt like the hero he always imagined himself to be. After gathering input from her colleagues, Clara settled on a variety of exciting activities. They planned a superhero costume contest where staff members would dress up as Ethan's favorite characters and encourage him to join in the fun. This meant that Clara would have to create an elaborate costume for Ethan, a bright cape with stars and a mask that shined with colors, embodying the superhero spirit he admired so much. To add even more excitement, Clara reached out to local community organizations, including a children's theater group known for their interactive performances. She explained Ethan's situation and shared his love for superheroes. To her delight, they agreed to send a few actors dressed as famous heroes like Spider-Man and Wonder Woman to visit Ethan on Superhero Day. The thought of meeting real-life heroes sent waves of joy through Clara as she imagined how thrilled he would be. "Imagine how happy he will be when he meets them," she told her fellow nurses with enthusiasm that was contagious. They all began working together on logistics, scheduling the time for the special guest appearances, preparing snacks shaped like superhero symbols, and arranging fun games that included obstacle courses where Ethan could pretend to save the day. On the day before Superhero Day, Clara organized a secret mission with her nursing team, decorating Ethan's room in preparation for the grand reveal. They filled it with colorful balloons shaped like stars and superhero logos while hanging streamers from every corner of the ceiling. A banner reading, "Superhero Ethan Saves the Day," was draped over his bed, sending a clear message about how special he truly was. The next morning, Clara arrived early at the hospital, her heart racing with excitement. She donned her own superhero costume, a bright blue cape and mask, and entered Ethan's room quietly, wanting to see his reaction when he woke up to this transformed space. When Ethan opened his eyes, he blinked in surprise at first. Then a look of pure joy spread across his face as he took in all the decorations surrounding him. "What happened?" he exclaimed, sitting up in bed and rubbing his eyes in disbelief. "Surprise! It's Superhero Day," Clara exclaimed with glee. "Today is all about you being our hero." Ethan jumped out of bed and rushed to take everything in, the balloons bouncing lightly against each other, the vibrant colors illuminating his small space. His laughter filled the room as Clara handed him his glittering cape and mask. "You're going to look incredible," she said encouragingly. After getting dressed up in full superhero fashion, they began their adventure-filled day with games designed just for him. The obstacle course set up in his room allowed him to navigate through soft pillows and toy villains while practicing heroic poses at every checkpoint, each checkpoint representing different challenges superheroes must overcome. The moment everyone had been waiting for arrived when Spider-Man and Wonder Woman entered the room. Their costumes were outstanding. Vibrant colors combined with detailed designs made them look genuinely larger than life. When they walked in, Ethan's eyes widened in amazement as if all his dreams had come true at once. "Wow! You guys are real superheroes!" he shouted excitedly, unable to contain himself. The actors knelt beside him, showering him with compliments about his bravery and strength. They engaged him in playful banter about what it meant to be a hero, sharing tales of their own adventures while encouraging him to share what made him feel brave as they played games together, like rescuing stuffed animals from dangerous heights or helping imaginary citizens escape evil villains. Ethan's laughter echoed throughout the ward. It turned into an explosion of happiness shared between heroes both real and imagined. Every activity brought new smiles not only from Ethan but also from nurses who watched eagerly from around the room. Each moment was infused with love and compassion that lit up even the darkest corners of their surroundings. Finally, after hours filled with fun games and laughter, everyone gathered around for cake decorated like a superhero emblem, a fitting way to celebrate an unforgettable day dedicated solely to honoring Ethan's spirit as they sang "Happy Birthday." Though it wasn't actually anyone's birthday, there was no denying that today felt special enough, one filled with hope amidst uncertainty, reminding them all how powerful connection could be during times of challenge or sorrow. Superhero Day had become more than just an event. It transformed into a testament of courage shared by many united behind one small boy who dreamed big amidst adversity, leaving echoes of laughter that would linger long after everyone returned home. Testaments proving love can overcome even the most difficult challenges life throws our way. As Clara and her team prepared for Superhero Day, the excitement in the air was palpable, but it wasn't just the nurses who were feeling the anticipation. Ethan's family, particularly his parents, Sarah and Mark, were deeply moved by Clara's efforts to create something special for their son. They had been grappling with the heartbreaking reality of Ethan's diagnosis, and now they faced the daunting challenges of watching their bright-eyed boy fight a battle that seemed insurmountable. When Sarah first heard about Superhero Day, tears of gratitude filled her eyes. She had been struggling to find ways to lift Ethan's spirits during this difficult time, often feeling helpless as she watched him endure painful treatments and the burden of his illness. "I can't believe they're doing this for him," she said to Mark, her voice trembling with emotion. "It's like a dream come true for Ethan. He loves superheroes so much." Mark nodded in agreement, his heart swelling with hope as he imagined how joyful Ethan would be. "This could be just what he needs," he replied. "It might help him forget about everything, even if just for a little while." The couple shared a quiet moment, understanding that while the situation was grim, they still had the power to create happy memories together as Superhero Day approached. They became more involved in the planning process, wanting to contribute in any way possible. Clara welcomed their help with open arms. She knew that having Ethan's family participate would only make the day more meaningful. They spent hours together crafting decorations and brainstorming fun activities that would resonate with Ethan's love for heroes. Sarah and Mark were encouraged to see how excited their son became when they discussed plans with him. Despite his frail condition, his eyes sparkled at the thought of the festivities, On the eve of Superhero Day, Sarah and Mark decided to surprise Ethan by bringing in some personal touches that reflected his personality. They created a scrapbook filled with messages from family and friends, accompanied by pictures of superheroes that Ethan admired. They knew he would cherish this keepsake as a reminder of the love surrounding him during such a tough time. The morning of Superhero Day arrived, and Sarah could hardly contain her excitement. Dressed in her own superhero-themed outfit, she rushed to the hospital with Mark, carrying the scrapbook and a box of homemade superhero-shaped cookies they had prepared together the night before. The couple felt as though they were part of something monumental, not just for Ethan, but for themselves as well. When they entered the hospital room, it was transformed into a magical place filled with color and joy beyond anything they could have imagined. The sounds of laughter echoed through the air as they saw Clara guiding Ethan through the various activities prepared for him, encouraging him to engage in hero-like challenges. Ethan caught sight of them and beamed with delight. "Mom, Dad, look at everything." He pointed toward the decorations and costumes with excitement that made their hearts swell. Clara knelt beside Ethan, her voice full of warmth as she said, "Look who's here to celebrate with you." As they joined in on the fun, Sarah felt an overwhelming sense of relief wash over her. To see Ethan laughing and playing with real superheroes felt like a precious gift amid their struggles. For those moments, they were not just a family facing illness. They were united in joy and creativity, a collective celebration of bravery that encompassed all their hopes. Mark took a moment to step back and observe the scene unfolding in front of him. It struck him how powerful it was to have so many people coming together for Ethan. The nurses dressed as superheroes interacted lovingly with his son. There was something almost magical about seeing everyone work together to uplift one little boy's spirit as they sang joyous songs and played games filled with laughter and cheer. Mark whispered to Sarah how grateful he was for Clara and all the staff who had worked so hard to make this day happen. "I never thought we could experience something like this again," he admitted, feeling tears threaten again, as he watched Ethan beam. A stark contrast to the boy weighed down by sickness just days ago. Superhero Day became not just an escape for Ethan but also a profound reminder for Sarah and Mark that love could triumph over despair. Even amidst harsh realities, it inspired them to hold on to hope, cherishing every moment spent together as they embraced their little hero spirit, boldly standing against life's challenges. As the day progressed into evening, surrounded by laughter and warmth, it became clear that this special event had not only fulfilled Ethan's dreams but had also reignited the fire of hope within his family, reminding them of the resilience that came from love amidst difficult times. And witnessing their son's joy, Sarah and Mark were filled with renewed strength to continue facing whatever lay ahead together as the sun streamed through the windows of the pediatric ward. Superhero Day officially began, filling the atmosphere with excitement and anticipation. Clara stood at the entrance of Ethan's room, her heart racing with joy. She could already hear the sounds of laughter and cheer as Ethan and his parents entered the brightly decorated space that had been transformed into a superhero paradise. Ethan's eyes widened in awe as he took in the colorful balloons, banners, and decorations that adorned every corner. His face lit up with pure delight upon seeing his favorite superheroes represented by nurses and staff dressed in vibrant costumes. "This is amazing," he exclaimed, his voice filled with excitement as he pointed at everything around him. Clara welcomed Ethan into this magical world, encouraging him to explore. The first activity was a superhero costume contest where everyone was invited to show off their outfits. Ethan was thrilled to be dressed as Captain Courageous, complete with a glittering cape and a mask that sparkled in the light as he took center stage. Clara announced, "Let's give a big round of applause for our superhero of the day, Ethan." The applause from the nurses and parents echoed through the room, lifting Ethan's spirits even higher. He beamed with pride, knowing that he was surrounded by people who cared deeply for him. The laughter and joy were infectious as Clara guided everyone through fun games designed to engage Ethan and his friends. Next up was an obstacle course set up in the middle of the room. Soft pillows were arranged to represent dangerous terrains, while plush toys acted as villains needing rescue. Ethan's laughter rang out as he navigated through the course, using all his superhero skills to overcome challenges. "I'm saving everyone," he shouted enthusiastically, pretending to fly over obstacles and leap across dangerous areas. Clara cheered him on, clapping her hands and playing along with all her heart. The nurses joined in too, creating an environment filled with encouragement and support. Each victory Ethan achieved made him feel stronger, like a real hero on an important mission. Just when things couldn't get any better, the moment arrived that everyone had been waiting for. The visits from real-life superheroes. Spider-Man swung into the room with flair, flipping playfully over Ethan's bed before landing gracefully beside him. Wonder Woman followed suit with her iconic lasso twirling around her wrist as she greeted Ethan with a warm smile. "Wow, you're really here." Ethan gasped in disbelief, his eyes wide as saucers. The actors knelt beside him, showering him with compliments about how brave he was for being such an incredible superhero himself. The interaction between Ethan and these characters was nothing short of magical. He felt like he had stepped straight into one of his beloved comic books. They shared stories of their own heroic adventures while asking Ethan what made him feel brave. With each exchange, it became clear how much this experience meant. To him, it was more than just a day of fun. It was a testament to his spirit. After engaging games filled with laughter and playful banter, it was time for cake. A highlight that everyone had been eagerly anticipating. The cake itself was decorated with bright colors and superhero symbols that made it look like a work of art. As Clara led everyone in singing Happy Birthday. Even though it wasn't anyone's birthday, their voices filled the air with joy and warmth. When it came time for Ethan to blow out the candles, he made a heartfelt wish. A wish not just for himself but for all kids battling tough challenges. Hoping they would find happiness too, as he blew out the candles surrounded by love and laughter. A sense of unity enveloped everyone present as Superhero Day unfolded further into evening festivities filled with fun games and joyous interactions. It became evident that this special day had lifted more than just Ethan's spirits. It had created an uplifting atmosphere for everyone involved. Nurses, family members, and fellow patients alike felt their hearts swell with hope and joy. Sarah watched from a distance as her son laughed freely among heroes real and imagined. Tears of happiness streamed down her cheeks at how powerful this moment felt amidst their struggles. Mark stood beside her, sharing her emotion. Together they realized how extraordinary it was to witness their child embrace life's possibilities even in difficult times. Superhero Day became an unforgettable celebration, a day that reminded them all about resilience through love and connection amid adversity. Laughter echoed through hospital walls long after they left. Memories etched into hearts showcasing how kindness could bring light even in life's darkest days. As Clara looked around at everyone enjoying themselves, seeing Ethan radiant with joy, she knew they had accomplished something truly meaningful. Not only had they given one little boy an incredible experience but also reinforced hope within. A family facing unimaginable challenges together as Superhero Day unfolded. The atmosphere was charged with joy and energy. Yet it was also filled with profound emotional moments that touched everyone present. From the moment Ethan stepped into his transformed room, his wide-eyed gaze truly captured the essence of innocence and hope. As he took in the colorful balloons and decorations, Sarah felt a lump in her throat. Tears of happiness filled her eyes as she watched her son rediscover moments of joy amid his battle against leukemia. "Ethan, look at all of this," she exclaimed, kneeling down beside him. "This is all for you." In that instant, Clara and the medical staff witnessed the bond between mother and son radiating warmth that seemed to fill every corner of the room. Mark stood behind them, his heart swelling with pride as he absorbed the sight of his son looking so alive and engaged. The first activity of the day, the superhero costume contest, brought laughter flooding through the air as nurses dressed in various vibrant outfits showcased their costumes. Clara encouraged Ethan to strut his stuff on stage. When he did, the applause was overwhelming. Each clap resonated with love and admiration as Clara announced him as Superhero of the Day. Ethan's face lit up brighter than ever before. A young nurse standing off to the side wiped away a tear. Seeing his joy infused them all with hope. Later, as Ethan tackled the obstacle course like a fearless hero rescuing plush toys from danger, an emotional highlight occurred when he paused, looking around at the encouraging faces of his parents and nurses. "I'm saving everyone," he called out again with a gleeful shout. A proclamation full of strength that made Sarah's heart skip a beat to see him embodying such bravery. Even during this challenging time, stirred tears to her eyes once more. Once Ethan completed an especially tricky section of the course with triumphant laughter echoing behind him, Clara rushed over for a high five. She whispered words of praise filled with pride, and for a moment, everything faded away. The illness, the struggles, replaced by a singular focus on this remarkable boy who had just accomplished something challenging in a world where he often felt powerless. Then came a pivotal emotional moment when Spider-Man and Wonder Woman arrived. The actor's grand entrance sent Ethan into a whirlwind of excitement. They kneeled beside him and asked for his input on heroic tales, turning the tables to let him be part of their world of bravery. A.S. Spider-Man engaged Ethan in conversation, asking him what superpower he would choose if given the chance. It became clear just how much these interactions meant to Ethan. He glowed with pride while sharing his wishes. Seeing her son interact so freely with these beloved characters transformed Sarah's tears of joy into tears of exhilaration. "He looks even happier than I could have imagined," she whispered to Mark as they exchanged glances filled with shared understanding. It felt rare to witness such pure joy at this juncture in their lives. It reminded them that despite everything they were facing, life still held beautiful moments worthy of celebration. After games filled with playful banter and laughter, it was time for cake. The masterpiece decorated with superhero symbols that everyone had eagerly anticipated. Clara gathered everyone around as they sang songs filled with cheer, while Ethan prepared to blow out the candles that held wishes within them. When it was finally his turn, he closed his eyes tightly and made a heartfelt wish, not just for himself but also for every child fighting battles like his OWS. He blew out the candles surrounded by cheers from those who cared about him deeply. An overwhelming sense of unity washed over everyone present. The room flooded with warmth as those moments created lasting bonds between family members and medical staff alike. As things wound down toward evening festivities filled with more games and cheerful interactions, Sarah observed Ethan giggling uncontrollably at some silly antics by nurses while dressed in costumes not typically worn in hospitals. Surrounded by such joy, a collective heartbeat echoing laughter, she couldn't help but feel immensely grateful. It felt as though love truly transcended hardship. Even Clara found herself stealing quiet moments to breathe in everything happening around her. The joy emanating from each exchange was palpable, reminding her why she chose nursing. To make meaningful impacts during pivotal times in people's lives. Diane, watching Ethan embrace each moment spiritedly throughout Superhero Day, compliments coming from real heroes alongside warm embraces from family. It became evident how strongly this event transcended its original intent. It had unified hearts, bringing smiles that would shine brightly amidst any darkness they faced together now or in their journeys ahead. As laughter echoed even after everyone began to depart, staying long past dusk. These memories became ingrained within each person's heart, reminders demonstrating how powerful connection could be during times when hope lingered faintly on lifetime's edges. The impact of Superhero Day rippled throughout the hospital in ways that none of the staff had anticipated. For Ethan, this day became a beacon of hope during a time filled with uncertainty and fear. As he experienced joy and laughter surrounded by love, it gave him a renewed sense of identity as a brave little hero. The activities did not merely brighten his spirits, they instilled a confidence in him that transcended his illness. His laughter rang through the halls, proving that even in the face of profound adversity, happiness could be found, albeit temporarily. For Sarah and Mark, witnessing their son's transformation during Superhero Day became a pivotal moment. They saw Ethan come alive, shedding the shadows that often loomed over their family. With each smile and giggle, they were reminded of the vibrant boy they had always known and loved. This special day reinforced their belief in the power of kindness and connection, not just among family but also within the broader community of caregivers who rallied around their son to create something extraordinary. Reflecting on that remarkable day, Sarah acknowledged how deeply meaningful it was for her and Mark. "Even in darkness, people came together to support our son," she said to Clara later that week, her voice filled with emotion. "We've been fighting for Ethan, but it showed us that we're not alone in this fight." Those words resonated with Clara and echoed throughout the medical staff as well. For the nurses and doctors involved, Superhero Day served as a reminder of why they chose to work in pediatrics. It was easy to become engulfed by routine or the heartbreaking aspects of their work. However, Being part of Ethan's celebration sparked something inside them. It restored their motivation and passion for what they did in Clara's eyes. The interactions she witnessed reaffirmed her commitment to her vocation. When you see that joy, it makes every difficult moment worthwhile, she would later share in staff meetings. Their smiles weren't just professional. They were genuine reflections of understanding how immense kindness could uplift spirits beyond measure. The friendships formed among the nurses that day were also significant. Many had rallied together to make Superhero Day happen, inspired by Clara's initiative and Ethan's courage. They learned about the strength found in collaboration, using their diverse talents to create something greater than any individual effort could offer. Moving forward, they made plans to incorporate more joyous events into their routines, small moments of celebration that focused on hope and healing long after a tough treatment process. The emotional highlights of the day connected all members of the hospital community, a bond strengthened through shared experiences filled with laughter. Even patients from neighboring rooms peeked in to witness the festivities unfolding outside Ethan's room, their faces lighting up at the sight of heroes mingling with laughter. The collective joy created an infectious energy that enveloped everyone nearby, reminding them all of the importance of community in times of trial. As time passed after Superhero Day, Ethan's family frequently reflected on how critical those moments were for them amid adversity. It rekindled their resolve to create positive memories amidst hardship, even if only for brief moments. Those memories became anchor points for Sarah and Mark, a reminder that there was still light breaking through their dark circumstances. When doctors assessed Ethan after the celebration days went by, there was change not only within him but also throughout his treatment environment. It felt less heavy, more full of life. There was a newfound vibrancy wherever he went. When asked about his treatment plans, he spoke with excitement, curiously anticipating the next adventure rather than dreading what lay ahead. Superhero Day left a lasting legacy, not just for Ethan but for everyone involved in his life at the hospital. Each person walked away transformed by a quality found through kindness. Nurses carrying forward smiles wherever they went, parents finding comfort beyond despair, and above all a little boy who dreamt big amid life's challenges, standing tall knowing he too could save the day. Even while facing uncertainty, recognizing how impactful such an experience could be. The multitudes celebrating that day etched memories into each heart present, serving as gentle reminders that joy exists even within life's unfathomable storms. As they ventured onward, relationships grew deeper. A community united around love found powerful ways to uplift one another. Proving compassion does indeed hold transformative power over adversity at every turn. In the days following Superhero Day, a mixture of heartbreak and hope hovered over Ethan and his family as they faced the stark reality of his illness. The joy from the magical celebration lingered in their hearts, yet the reality set in that Ethan's condition was deteriorating. Though he had experienced an incredible day surrounded by love and laughter, the hugs and smiles could not erase the harsh truth that time was limited. Ethan's parents, Sarah and Mark, continued to embrace every moment with their son while grappling with the weight of impending loss. They organized small family gatherings in Ethan's hospital room, filling it with familiar faces and voices that reminded him of home. Each story shared or silly joke told brought happiness, yet beneath each smile lay an unspoken ache, a constant reminder that they were navigating a path toward farewell. With Clara's support, they tried to keep Ethan's spirits high. She visited daily, bringing new activities to engage him, a board game here, a coloring project there, anything to spark joy amid uncertainty. Clara found herself laughing alongside Ethan as they played games or created art together, but she too felt a pang of sadness knowing how fragile their time was together. One afternoon, as Clara worked on a craft project with Ethan, he paused and looked at her thoughtfully. "Clara," he mused quietly, "I had so much fun being a superhero last week." He pointed to his colorful scrapbook filled with memories from Superhero Day. "But what happens after?" Her heart sank as she realized the depth of his understanding at such a young age. With compassion in her voice, she replied gently, "You're still our hero, Ethan. Every day you show us so much strength." A small smile broke through Ethan's uncertainty as he processed her words. He continued drawing but glanced up occasionally at Clara, who felt privileged for this connection they shared. one forged through creativity and companionship that transcended illness. As days rolled on, there were moments where laughter rang out less frequently in the room. On particularly tough days when treatments took more toll on Ethan's energy, Sarah and Mark would cuddle close to him as he rested. They read his favorite stories out loud, each turn of the page accompanied by soft whispers of love conveying all the things they wished to say without pretense. A bittersweet acknowledgement of both laughter and tears. Then one evening during one of those quiet moments together, Mark held up a special framed picture. One taken during Superhero Day where Ethan wore his mask proudly against a backdrop of bright decorations and smiling faces. "Look at you," he said softly. "Our little hero." Ethan smiled weakly but nodded knowingly. There was a poignant stillness that fell over them all as they realized how precious these moments had become. Not empty time ticking away but treasured fragments etched into their hearts forever. Meanwhile, Clara often found herself reflecting on her interactions with Ethan when she returned home each night. She spoke with fellow nurses about how special it felt to witness such resilience even amidst difficult circumstances. How caring for patients like Ethan infused meaning into her work that went beyond medical roles. Each day became an exercise in finding light amid shadows. Whether it was through spontaneous dance parties sparked by trust or quiet conversations about dreams, the exchange fostered connections deeper than words could convey as they approached what became known as the final chapter in Ethan's battle against leukemia. The family united further around him. Emotional moments turned into precious memories through loving gestures. Gentle songs sang softly while holding hands tightly or capturing spontaneous smiles on video to cherish later. On one particularly moving day filled with warmth despite its context, visits from friends flooded the hospital room offering familiar comfort during uncertain times. Laughter intermingled with tears as they all shared stories reflecting on who Ethan was, the vibrant spirit shining brighter than any struggle he faced in those closing days together. The emphasis remained not just on managing pain but celebrating life itself. Cherishing goodbyes, expressing love openly, while celebrating every part of who he was, ensured no moment would feel wasted, even if tinged with inevitable sorrow. As Sarah held her son tightly one evening while watching stars twinkle outside his window, she couldn't help but reflect how impactful love could be. Binding threads woven through hearts remained strong regardless of what awaited beyond that horizon. Knowing deeper connections formed would transcend beyond limits, connecting them eternally through memory long after life itself ebbed away. Ethan's journey, though fraught with pain and uncertainty, ultimately became a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit, showcasing how love, compassion, and kindness can illuminate even the darkest of times in the face of overwhelming odds. Ethan's story resonated deeply not only with his family but also with the medical staff and fellow patients who witnessed the profound impact of Superhero Day. As Ethan's condition continued to decline in the days that followed, the memories of his superhero celebration remained vivid. A shining beacon during moments of struggle, Clara, having formed a unique bond with Ethan and his family, found herself forever changed by this experience. The warmth and joy they created together served as a reminder that even in the direst situations, kindness has the power to uplift and unite those involved. Sarah and Mark often reflected on how much Superhero Day had meant to them as parents. It offered a rare glimpse of hope and happiness amid the looming reality of their situation. They were grateful for every laugh shared and every moment spent surrounded by love. It was like a light broke through the clouds, Sarah would often say as she shared her feelings with close friends. In the middle of all this darkness, we were reminded that kindness still exists. The nurses, too, felt an enduring impact from Ethan's journey. After witnessing his courage and determination firsthand during Superhero Day and in the days that followed, they were inspired to cultivate an environment filled with compassion for all young patients. Clara organized small gatherings where children could express themselves through art and creative play, allowing them to be heroes in their own right, regardless of their health challenges. Each interaction with Ethan remained etched in Clara's memory. She recalled how he would light up at even the smallest gestures of kindness. On tough days when he struggled with treatment side effects, she'd sit beside him reading stories or engaging in gentle conversation about his favorite superheroes. Those moments reinforced her dedication to her profession. She realized how important it was to nurture not just physical health but emotional well-being too. As time moved forward and Ethan's health fluctuated, family bonds strengthened. Within their home environment, the memories they had created became anchors during particularly hard days. Sarah made it a point to gather around family meals that included stories about Ethan's adventures as Captain Courageous. His bravery framed in laughter amid tears. One quiet evening, after sharing stories around a cozy dinner table where love flowed freely despite sadness weighing heavily on them, Mark pulled out his phone to show Sarah some videos he had taken from Superhero Day watching. Ethan's laugh brought fresh waves of emotion. They sat together as a family wrapped in warmth rather than despair. A connection forged through shared experiences that would shape their path ahead, as they navigated each day together. Sometimes heartfelt moments peppered by joy alongside times tinged with sorrow. They created new traditions built on love and honor for Ethan's spirit. They took walks beneath trees, turning colors in autumn's embrace, or flew kites while recalling every adventure they had embarked upon together. These simple rituals were reminders of the strength within their tight-knit family unit. A legacy established based on kindness that would ripple through their lives long after Ethan's journey came to its conclusion. It became clear to everyone involved that while grief is an inevitable companion during loss, love remains an empowering force capable of transcending boundaries. Ethan's legacy would live on not just through cherished memories, but through actions inspired by him. A call to kindness echoed beyond hospital walls into the community at large. Friends would tell others about how one little boy transformed an entire ward into a place where laughter drowned sorrow for just one day. Stories continued circulating among families who faced similar battles, reminding them all to seek connection amid hardship. In life's toughest moments, the collective experience became a clarion call highlighting compassion's profound ability to create light when shadows threatened to overwhelm. Ultimately, what started as a celebration turned into an enduring reminder. Love can bloom even amidst life's greatest challenges, creating ripples felt far beyond any individual journey.